Hello, everyone. Welcome to my stream. So, we're going to be going over how to install Android Studio. This is going to be a series for beginners. If you're interested in learning how to program in Android, this is definitely your place. And so we're going to go over the official code labs on how to do these things. So today we're going to go over the code lab for Android Studio on how to install Android Studio. And so, yeah, this is one of my first or second streams, and I'm excited. It's going to be this is going to be one of several streams that I plan on doing, and so my plans are going to be a extensive study on Android development, and anyone that wants to tag along and learn with me on this journey, I think it would be beneficial to you on our road to becoming pros at Android development. So, all right, I'm gonna go ahead and get started here with the objective of the stream. So, all right, let me go ahead and change my window here and get started. So, we're going to go to the Code Lab, download and install Android Studio. So, I'm going to go ahead and post this link in the chat and also in the description for whoever wants to follow along. Even if you want to follow along later, we can do that too. You can do that too, definitely. And so, all right. So here's the collab. Download and install Android Studio. And also, this is going to be for Mac and Windows. So before you begin, in this collab, you will learn how to download and install Android Studio, Google's Android development environment. Some prerequisites you need is intermediate computer skills, including understanding file structure and using moderately complex applications such as spreadsheets, word processor, and photo editor, computer navigation skills so that you can open and adjust settings and identify browser and operating system OS versions, ability to verify system requirements, disk and memory space requirements, and screen resolution, and to download, install, and update software. What you'll learn: how to check that your computer configuration meets the minimum requirements for running Android Studio, and how to download and install Android Studio tool. What you'll need: a computer running the latest version of Windows, Linux, or Mac OS, internet access for your computer. All right. 2. Meet Android Studio. Android Studio is the official integrated development environment for Android app development, built and distributed by Google. It is a specialized workshop with tools to make it easy for the software developers to use to design, build, run, and test apps for the Android platform. Android Studio uses IntelliJ IDEA as its foundation and includes the Android plugin pre-installed along with some tweaks specifically for the Android platform. So it will feel very familiar to you. In this collab, you're going to install Android Studio. Android is an operating system like Windows, Linux, or Mac OS for smartphones and other devices such as tablets, wearables, TVs, and cars. You can run apps on Android like phone, messages, Gmail, photos, and all your games. So Android is much more than just mobile phone, like it was saying here. Also, TVs, cars, things like that, and wearables. So Android is one of the most popular mobile operating systems. There are more than 2.5 billion devices, including watches, TVs, cars, around the world running Android. All right, so we're on three, verify system requirements. In order to run Android Studio, your computer and operating system need to meet some requirements. Make sure you have a good, stable internet connection. Installation time may vary according to the speed and reliability of your internet connection. Open any web browser such as Chrome and go to this link. And so I'm going to also post this link inside the chat and the description so that the chat and the people that watch this later can follow along. All right. And so that's going to be the link. You go to that page, and it this page lists the specific hardware requirements that are needed to install and run Android Studio on your computer. And so yeah, you can look at this page once you are ready to install it, and it will tell you the core features and everything that you need to know about Android Studio. And so, yep. And so this is where you're going to mainly download it. All right. And so follow the steps below to check your system requirements for either Windows or Mac OS. Mac OS. Mac OS. Select the Apple menu uh, and then about this Mac. In the pop-up window under the Overview tab, look for the OS version number and make sure it's within required range. Next to memory, check that the listed total memory meets or exceeds the required minimal. For example, in the screenshot below, the OS version is 12.2.1 and memory is 16 GB. So this is where you're gonna check your information for your system. Make sure it's good enough for the to download the program, the Android Studio. In the same pop-up, switch to the Displays tab. In the description of the display, make sure your computer's screen resolution meets or exceeds the recommended resolution. So, okay, and that's how you check that in displays. Switch to the storage tab. Check the available disk space and make sure it meets or exceeds the recommended disk space for running Android Studio. Alright, and so you check your disk space and storage. And if your computer meets all the requirements, proceed to download Android Studio. All right, for the Windows users, Windows 10, on a Windows computer, you can find all the information you need to verify the system requirements in settings. So open settings. You can use the search tool next to the start button at the bottom of your screen to locate it. Click system. At the bottom of the left-hand navigation pane, click about. Make sure the Windows specifications meet or exceed the requirements. So you should see something like this on the Windows specifications. And then select device specifications. And then this should appear on the device specifications and make sure you meet the proper requirements there. And then make sure that the installed RAM is at least as much as required and that the system type is the 64-bit version of the operating system. In the left-hand navigation, click Display. Make sure the resolution is the same or better than what is required. All right. And in the left-hand navigation pane, click Storage. Make sure that the local storage has enough free space to install Android Studio. Alright, so it should look something like that when you check your local storage. And we're going to move on to number 4. Number 4, download Android Studio. Although the look of the installation dialogues and icons may change with different versions of Android Studio, the installation steps should basically remain the same. Download the Android Studio installation file, open any web browser, and go to this link. So I'm going to go ahead and post this link in the chat. This is the download link where you can install it. So, and then I'll also go ahead and post these links in the description so that you all can be able to follow along too for those that watch it in the future. Okay, and then all right, now this is the Android developer site where you can download Android Studio. This page automatically detects your operating system. So yeah, when you basically go here, it's you know, the page again, and it will automatically detect what operating system you are on and give you the appropriate download. So you would just hit the download button there, and this is okay. And then 2, click download Android Studio. The terms and conditions page with the Android Studio license agreement opens. Read the license agreement. At the bottom of the page, if you agree with the terms and conditions, check I have read and agree with the above terms and conditions. Click download Android Studio to start the download. When prompted, save the file to the location where you can easily locate it, for example, desktop or downloads folder. Wait for the download to complete. This may take a while and may be a good moment to enjoy some tea. So, yeah, it does take probably a few minutes to actually complete the download. So, you can take a little break at that point of time. So some programs download very quickly, but this one is quite a sizable program, so it will probably take a few minutes. And so note, if you need more help or want to customize your installation, check out the instructions to install Android Studio, which includes screencasts. Let me see. So, all right. So there's another um, place where you can get additional information on how to install it and customize the install. If you want to dive deeper into that subject, I'll go ahead and share that link into the chat as well. Over here. So I'm gonna go ahead and post that in the chat. Okay. Alright, so now let me see here. Okay. I posted that in the chat. And alright, let's go back to the lesson here. Alright. So install Android Studio on Mac OS. 1. Open the folder where you downloaded and saved the Android Studio installation file. 2. Double click the downloaded file. The following pop up displays. So you should see something like this. Drag and drop the Android Studio icon into the application folder. So you would just drag and drop that to the folder there. And 4, in the application folder, double click the Android Studio icon to launch the Android Studio Setup Wizard. If you see a warning about installing or running a file downloaded from the internet, accept the installation. So you should see a window like this, and go ahead and accept it. Follow the Android Studio Setup Wizard and accept the default settings for all steps. During the installation, the Setup Wizard downloads and installs additional components and tools needed for Android app development. This may take some time depending on your internet speed, so you could go refill your cup of tea. So I like to drink green tea, but any tea that you want to drink, you could do it at that time. Five, when the installation completes, Android Studio starts automatically. The Welcome to Android Studio dialog opens, and you are ready to start creating apps. So once you install it, you should see a screen that looks like this, and that means it's good to go and you're ready to start creating apps. And if this is your first time, congratulations, and I'm looking forward to you making many apps in the future. So, all right, for the Windows users, this is how it will go. Install Android Studio on Windows. Open the folder where you downloaded and saved the Android Studio installation file. Double click the downloaded file. If you see a user account control dialog about about allowing the installation to make changes to your computer, click yes to confirm the installation. The Welcome to Android Studio Setup dialog displays, and you should see the dialog here. And then you click next to start the installation. Accept the default installation settings for all steps, and then click finish. When the installation is done to launch Android Studio. All right, then you should see a dialog like that, and then choose your preference of light or dark theme when Android Studio first launches. I personally would suggest the dark theme because it seems to be easier on your eyes, especially for those that spend long hours coding. It's a little bit easier on your eyes, in my opinion. Screenshots in this course use the light theme, but choose whichever one you prefer. This may take some time depending on your internet speed, so you could go refill your cup of tea. So go drink some more tea at that time while you um, while you wait. All right, and then 8. During the installation, the setup wizard downloads and installs additional components and tools needed for Android app development. This may take some time depending on your internet speed. During this time, you may see a user account control dialog for Windows command processor. Click yes to accept the dialog. Okay, so you should see that dialog, and then click yes, and then 9. You may also receive a Windows security alert about adb.exe. Click allow access if needed to continue the installation. So yeah, make sure it's allowed on your antiviruses, and when the download and installation completes, click finish. Then yeah, you're gonna go ahead and click finish, and then here's what the Windows version of the beginning screen looks like. The welcome to Android Studio window displays, and you're ready to start creating apps. So our um, our Windows users should be up to speed and be able to start creating apps as well. And so awesome. So yeah, that's basically the objective of my stream today. And if you would like to learn more, you can also visit this page here in the Code Lab, and they have like the vocabulary for Android basics and Kotlin, downloading Android Studio, which we just did, install Android Studio, and meet Android Studio. Android developer documentation. Yeah, so this is documentation you can actually go over of what we did today. So, so yeah, um, yeah. Paste any or write any comments you have in the write any comments you have in the description, and I'll make sure to answer those. And subscribe to the channel. They'll I plan to make many more streams slash videos, and I hope this was useful to you all today. And until next time, stay coding.